All right, so it's been a little over a year and a month since I beat Windy Landscape, and I thought I would do another one of these types of videos. I don't actually know if this is going to turn into a series, but I kind of wanted to do something to celebrate the completion of Windy Landscape because I didn't really do anything spectacular for it, despite the fact it was the longest a level had taken me and easily the worst experience I had in the game. And I just I feel like something special should be done for it. And so to celebrate it being a little over 2 years since I beat the level, I'm just gonna talk about it because I've never really given context to why my experience with the level was so bad. I kind of just spoke in vague riddles about it. So I just kind of wanted to do another one of these videos to just be like, hey, a long time ago I did this thing and here's the story basically behind why I did it, as well as the fact that I kind of just want to get better at talking about stuff because I have a new type of format that I'm working on that I'm going to start doing that should be happening soon, but don't count me with that. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to spend a little bit talking about Windy Landscape. So, as I said earlier, worst experience in the game, I will stand by that. The only experience that came close was Poltergeist, which I got in 2 runs, but dropped it because it was atrocious and I hated it. And that's kind of been a trend with every 1.9 insane demon that I've tried to beat, where I just start playing it and I just have a really bad experience with it and end up dropping the level. And it's gotten to a point where I just genuinely don't like 1.9 levels anymore. Basically, how it always happens is I'll pick up a 1.9 insane demon. For example, some levels would be Supersonic, which I got 50, I think I got dual to 100, but couldn't do anything past that and just gave up because I ended up not having fun with the level. And then the same thing happened with Poltergeist, as I mentioned before, where I got really good runs on it, and I have a video of that on my channel, but I dropped it because it had this one really bad checkpoint in the middle of the level, and it just kind of pissed me the fuck off, so I dropped the level. And then Acropolis and Ado, I kind of started learning, hated them, and dropped them very quickly. And this trend started with Windy Landscape, because Windy Landscape, I picked it up in 2022 as I was gonna beat it as my first insane. And the same thing happened where I started learning it, I hated it, and I dropped it. But since this was my first time with a 1.9 level where I ended up hating and dropping it, I ended up just not beating it, but coming back to it later after I had beaten my first insane demon, which was Magma Bound. And so I was like, I'm a little bit better, maybe I could do Windy Landscape now. And so I tried it, and I stuck with it, and it was easily the worst experience I've ever had in the game. And there are a lot of reasons, which I will now finally get into after a really long intro for no reason. So first of all, I would just like to mention that I know that this is a popular level. I've had many people tell me that my opinion is wrong for not liking the level, and trust me, I know. I get it all the time when I mention that it's my least favorite level in the game. Anytime I say that, it's like, oh, but it's such a fun level, how do you not like it? Well, I just don't like the same type of gameplay you do. It's as simple as that. But also, it's like the most inconsistent level of all time. Like, the pre-drop is so unbearably hard compared to the drop, and it got to a point where I just couldn't pass it. I would have multiple sessions in a row where I wouldn't even pass the pre-drop, no matter how long I had been playing it for, and it just got really frustrating. A few speak out parts are the one part, the ship right before the wave, where it's a really tight corridor for literally no reason, and the there are a few clicks in the cube after that one wave before the ship that really, I'll show them on screen so I have good examples of what I'm talking about. But like, it just really got to a point where it was unbearable, and it just really just got on my nerves, like way more than any level had at that point. And it just got really frustrating because you pass it and you basically get to the end of the level, because the dual cube and ship are genuinely, in my opinion, easy demon gameplay. I think it is so free for no reason, and it's even more frustrating not being able to get to the drop, because the pre-drop has some really, like, in my opinion, high-end insane demon gameplay, just causing you to just constantly die over and over again at the beginning. I'm not saying this is all personal opinion. I'm not saying this is a fact that it's high insane gameplay. I know people who have called Windy Landscape consistent, and that it's like a consistent difficulty. I've heard people agree with me but say that I'm over exaggerating. And it's just because, yeah, people have different types of gameplay they're good at, and Windy Landscape, besides the duel, is not gameplay I'm good at. And it's just like, it's always annoying to me when people are like, oh, you're just bad at the game. Like, no, it's just I'm bad at a specific type of gameplay. But moving on from that, then you pass the drop, and you get to the only part that is like equal difficulty to the difficulty people say the level is, the ending. I think the ending is genuine. I think the ending is the only part that's actually low end insane demon. But it's frustrating. That's a frustrating balancing when the beginning is impossible and the middle is easy, because you constantly die at the beginning, you finally pass the drop, you finally get to the drop and you pass it with ease, and then it's just significantly more stressful because the ending is harder than the drop for no reason. It wouldn't be as much of an issue if it was as easy as the drop, but it's not. It's harder. This didn't really affect me as much as I thought it would, but it, like, because I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I got lucky in terms of new bests. I didn't die much at the ending, but that doesn't mean it was a lucky experience because of how much I died at the beginning. The beginning is really what made it the experience that it was. I'm extremely grateful that I got lucky with the ending, not dying there much, but with how much I died at the beginning and at the drop, it kind of just devalues the point, because it's hard to call an experience lucky when the part that's making me struggle so much is right at the beginning, and I'm not even getting to the part where I got lucky at enough to justify it. And especially when you take into account that I was playing the level on and off for over a year. Like, it's hard to call like getting lucky at the ending, getting lucky on the level, when that's the experience that I had. And that's really the experience that kind of just made me not like the level at all. And it really got, and like, it got to a point where whenever I was playing the level, I was just in a bad mood. I got to, this is kind of personal, but there were some nights where I genuinely had I had a mental breakdown, like a genuine, like, not a panic attack, but it was like, it felt close, because I would die like at a certain point far into the level and just get so fucking upset at it, and I really had an unfun experience. And that's really just what made my experience with Windy Landscape so miserable. But luckily, it's over. I can look back on it fondly, not fondly, but just as something that I was able to pull through on and accomplish. And with levels like Future Funk is another level that I had an abysmal experience with. But with Future Funk, the reason I was able to pull through and beat it is because I got to a certain point where I just was able to not take the level seriously. And when I got to a point that I was able to not take the level seriously, it became fun, and it ended up being one of my most fun experiences, despite how much I hate the level and how bad the experience was prior to that. But with Windy Landscape, it really just was consistently a miserable grind, and I never really got to a point where I had a fun experience, just because no matter what, I couldn't just not take the level seriously. I had to take it seriously. And so I just was never able to get to a point where I had fun with the experience. The last 2 points that I want to bring up that I was kind of apprehensive to talk about, because despite the fact that it really did affect how much I like the level, it's not really, some people aren't going to find it that significant, but the song and decoration. I'm going to start with the decoration. Atrocious. I know it's 1.9 and standards were already low, but it just looks so ugly. The color choices are miserable, and it just sucks to look at. It's consistent, at least. The decoration is like the only consistent part of the level, but goddamn is it not a good level. Look, like, visually either. And then the song. I am not a fan of the Fat Rat. I know they're like a popular music artist, just period. Their music gets used in a lot of stuff beyond GD. I just don't really like a lot of their music, and I think Windfall is their worst song. It's really annoying to me. It gets on my nerves really bad, and I hated the song before I even got to a point with Windy where I hated the level. There were points where the song would genuinely give me a headache because of just of how bad I think it sounds. I don't want to get into like the reasons why I think the song is bad, because then I'm gonna go full music nerd, and that's not, I don't want to drag this video out, because this was just supposed to be a short, hey, this is why I like the level. I'm not gonna talk more about the songs. I hated it. It gave me a headache in a lot of instances. Oh well. So with all that being said, that's the Windy Landscape experience for me. That's why it was so bad for me and why I hated the level so much. I'm at a point now where, thinking about Windy Landscape, it was just like a phase in me playing GD, that it happened, it's over. I'm grateful that it's over, because at the time I was in a point where I would pick stuff up, drop it really fast, and Windy Landscape, just kind of me pushing through and beating that level, proved to me that I could do it. And that feeling kind of lasted for a while, but then I dropped into the same hole, but I'm being pulled out of it now because of the current level I'm on, which I'll talk about that when I beat the level. Is just, the level's beating my ass right now. But with that being said, I'm just thankful that I was able to beat it, because it just really meant a lot to me. The level did, despite how much I hated it. And I'd like to give a shout out to my good friend Miyaki, because they were very much there at that time and like giving me a lot of emotional support. I do blame them though, because they're the one who recommended me the level. So Miyaki, if you're watching this, I hate you, but not actually. So yeah, shout out to them for being awesome, but also for recording the footage you're watching right now. I really did not want to go back and beat Windy Landscape just for this video, and I didn't feel like speed hacking, or the GD vanilla equivalent of speed hacking, and no clipping and whatever, just to have the footage. So shout out Miyaki for being an absolute goat and recording the footage for me. Shout out them, description to their channel or whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say, really. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you've stuck in this far, sorry if it felt like rambly. Again, this is really my second time doing something like this, so I'm not really that used to talking in front of a camera. I promise I'll have something out soon. I'm still working on a new hardest. It's taking forever, If you've seen any of my recent videos, you know what level it is. I promise I'm sticking with it. It's just taking me forever. But hopefully I'll have it beaten soon. And then 2026 is really going to be my lock-in year. I have a lot of plans, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to do all of them and just have a good year overall. That's really all I had to say. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you whenever I beat my new hardest.